Hey ladies and gentlemen, Stephen here from the channel Redolescence, and welcome back to another fragrance review. Thank you so much for tuning in. And in this video, I'm very excited to be talking to you about the newest release by the company Roja Parfums. This one goes by the name Elysium, so stay tuned. This fragrance was released in 2017. The perfumer behind this fragrance is Roja Dove. Now, Roja Dove is not only an accomplished perfumer, but he's also an accomplished author. His fragrances are available all around the world, and he even has some fragrances that are exclusive to certain parts of the world. Now, as far as the name of this fragrance is concerned, Elysium translates to paradise, afterlife, bliss, heaven. It's basically the place where the soul goes after death and before the beginning of life in the afterlife. I know it's also the name of a movie, but I digress. Now, this fragrance is characterized or classified as a fougere, and we know that fougere fragrances typically consist of the note of lavender. In this fragrance, although lavender is contained therein, I don't get a whole lot of lavender. I can actually make comparison to some other fragrances that I've smelled. And before I really start the review, I do want to mention that the folks over at Lucky Scent were kind enough to give me my own 15% off coupon code, and I'm going to leave it down below. All the links for purchase will be down below as well. The coupon code is REDO, which is short for Redolescence, and if you apply that coupon code upon checkout, you will get 15% off your purchase of a bottle of Elysium. And I want to really thank the folks over at Lucky Scent for doing that. It's huge. Lucky Scent never gives coupons, so thank you so much for that opportunity. So let's go ahead and start off the review by taking a closer look at the presentation. So here's the presentation for Elysium by Roja Parfums. Now, I do have a tester bottle, so it doesn't come with the cap. This is available in a couple different colors just because it has a couple different concentrations. And at the bottom is where you'll find your information, the batch code, and all that other stuff. And the atomizer on this one is one of the best. Really nice distribution, and you can even control how much you want to spray. Let's go ahead and continue with the smell. Now, as far as the smell goes, when you first spray it on, you are going to get this holy grail of citrus. You have lemon and bergamot and grapefruit, and they come together in such harmony. I mean, the citrus overtone that you get here is in many ways incomparable. There are only a few other fragrances that I can allude to, fragrances like Neo by Xerjoff or Bergamot 22 by Le Labo, that have an equally bright and citrusy overtone, and this one just really packs a punch and it catches you off guard. And I think it might also be one of the elements of the fragrance that make it such a high compliment getter. I've been wearing this fragrance for the past week and a half, and I have been receiving overwhelmingly positive attention. As soon as the citrus dies out, you are going to be greeted with this note of lavender. Now, I did mention that this is a fougere fragrance, and unlike other fougere fragrances like Cologne pour un homme or even Eau Noire by Christian Dior, the lavender note isn't overly dominant in this one, so it's not going to smell like your classic or traditional barbershop fragrances. As a matter of fact, it's evened out and blended really well with other fragrances like Artemisia and Thyme, and it almost creates like this green spicy element in the mid that I really like. So for a fragrance that starts off so citrusy, it's really downsized a bit by all of these green elements that it doesn't seem like it's too high up here in terms of its olfactory composition, but it's multifaceted and multi-layered. Now, because of that green element, I have seen some comparisons online to where people compare it to Creed's Aventus. Personally, I don't get that. Creed's Aventus to me is characterized by that pineapple, juicy, fruity opening that you don't really get here. Despite all the citrus, this one really just settles down into this leathery ambergris and musky base that I think is super heavenly, hence the name, no pun intended there. But yes, it does have that animalistic quality, but it doesn't smell animalistic. It doesn't smell barnyardy. It's not the musk or the ambergris that you would expect to smell. This one is really luxurious and in very high taste. So personally, I really enjoyed this one. My wife loves smelling this one on me as well. And whatever lavender is in there, it just adds this gentlemanly take, which is the only variable that I think would exclude me from saying that this ventures into feminine territory, because it totally doesn't. There is a masculine component to this, and I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised by it. If I were to make a comparison The closest comparison that I could make is Dior Sauvage, just because I think they open up with a similar bright freshness, but the citrus in here is miles above the freshness of Dior Sauvage, just because it's very realistic in the citrus that you smell. And that's all the ways around: the lemon, the lime, the bergamot, the grapefruit. So I think it's a very well done composition, and I think Roja Dove did a fantastic job with this release. So let's go ahead and finish things off by taking a closer look at my rating. Now, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, despite the fact that I did make another connection earlier on in the video, I do think it's a unique fragrance because despite it opening up very fresh and seemingly ethereal and ephemeral, it does last for a while, and you do get those added elements in the base like the leather and the musk and the ambergris that just serve to add a refined quality to the composition. Now, as far as longevity, you guys know I do have to call a spade a spade. I got about 6 to 7 hours with this one, and maybe that is because it's so citrus heavy. So if you're expecting to get a fragrance that's going to last you 8+ hours, this might not be your first selection. But if you want just something that's going to get you through the workday, I think this one is going to suit that category really well. And it got me through my workday. I work 7 to 8 hours a day, depending on whether or not I decide to tutor. And this one just did remarkably well. And like I said, it got overwhelmingly positive attention. Projection was fantastic for like the first 2 hours. At the 5-hour mark, it sets very closely to the skin, becoming an intimate scent. Versatility on this one is fantastic. I do think it's geared a little bit more towards men, but the citrus makes it very accommodating. You can wear it dressed up, dressed down, and even though some might be inclined because of the citrus to say that this is going to be geared more towards the hotter weather, I think as long as you're wearing it indoors and in a climate-controlled environment, this would work well in all occasions, all times of the year. It's incredibly versatile. And lastly, for presentation, I know I have a tester bottle here, but I do have a full presentation of Creation E, and I think it's gorgeous. So if I were to give this one a final verdict, I would say this is one of my favorite fragrances. And I'm not just saying that because this is prestigious and it's grandeur and it's so like exalted and it's such a pricey brand. I'm saying that because the smell really translates to it being a fantastic fragrance, and the level of confidence that I have when I wear it, the overwhelmingly positive reception, how versatile it is, the fact that it just wears so easily and so comfortably on the skin, and that people just ask you, like, what are you wearing? So I felt great wearing this. Now, it might not be totally appropriate for this time of the year. I know I'm contradicting myself somewhat. If you smell it, you're going to realize that it's citrus heavy, but as long as you're wearing it in a climate-controlled environment, you're going to be fine. If you're going out on Christmas market or something like that and you're out in the freezing cold, then maybe not. But as long as you're wearing it indoors, it's such a safe work environment fragrance. I think this is going to do wonderfully. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. That was my full review on Elysium Pour Homme by Roja Parfums. If you know or have tried this scent, please let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below. Also, please don't forget to subscribe for future videos and enable notifications by clicking on the bell. This way you never miss any of my future content. And once again, I would like to thank the folks over at Lucky Scent for giving us a 15% coupon code that is redeemable upon checkout. And once again, the coupon code is REDO. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you in the next episode. Take care.